Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tip. My name is Julian, and today we're continuing our series of episodes about every single individual NHL team and how their players are going to perform this year in fantasy. This episode is about the Calgary Flames. So before we get started, guys, just please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs this year, so your support would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Now let's jump right into the Calgary Flames projected lines. I'm projecting their lines to be Dubé, Lindholm, Tkachuk, Gaudreau, Monahan, Coleman, and Mangiapane, Backlund, and Lucic. Now, obviously, these lines are absolutely not confirmed at all. This is one of the teams that I have no idea really what the lineup's going to look like. This could be it, or it could be completely different, right? It could be Gaudreau, Lindholm, Tkachuk. And Monahan could easily be a third liner, seeing how bad he did last year. So it really depends, right? Dubé could obviously be a third liner as well. So it really depends what happens. And it depends also if Jacob Pelletier makes the team, right? Because Pelletier is a really good left winger, and he could easily take over on that top line instead of Dubé. Jumping into the players that are ranked now, and good news, guys, Yahoo has finally opened up their drafts and have released their expert rankings. So the rankings that you see in this video are no longer the NHL's top 250 rankings. They're actually Yahoo's expert rankings. So first on the list, guys, ranked at number 34 is Matthew Tkachuk. He had 43 points in 56 games last year. A little bit of an off year for him. Definitely was not his best, but he still shot a lot and hit a lot, and so he was pretty good all over. His shooting percentage was a little bit low, so I'll expect that to go back up next year. But Tkachuk's a very good player. I don't absolutely love him where he's being drafted at, unless you're in a bangers league. If you're in a bangers league, he's definitely worth it where he's being drafted at, especially if hits are worth a lot in your league. Other leagues, I probably wouldn't draft him around there. There are probably better options if hits aren't really a factor in your league. But in Bangers League, definitely a good option. Next on the list, guys, is Johnny Gaudreau, ranked at 47. And last year, he had a decent bounce back season. He had 49 points in 56 games, right? Not the best in the world, and his shooting percentage was high, so it's possible that it goes back down next season. But Gaudreau is strangely super underrated now after that terrible season he had last year, and the recent bounce back season still wasn't a point per game. He's a little underrated, and I think he can definitely get back to that point per game pace, depending on who he plays with, what his line mates are looking like. I think he can do it. Next on the list is Elias Lindholm, center right wing. He was ranked 84 in Yahoo's expert rankings, and he had 47 points in 56 games. Another guy who's criminally underrated, a guy who shoots the puck actually a lot, which makes him a pretty safe pick in a lot of leagues. He was a plus 10, so a better plus minus than Gaudreau, and his shooting percentage was a little high also last year, but not as high as Gaudreau's was. So I think Lindholm makes for a really safe pick because no matter where he plays, he does well in the lineup. So at 84, you cannot go wrong with Elias Lindholm. Next on the list is Jacob Markstrom, ranked at 139, which makes him the number 30th ranked goalie on Yahoo's list, which I think is absolutely nuts. Last year, he had 22 wins, 3 shutouts. Yeah, Calgary was not great last year, but they're in the Pacific Division. There's Vegas, and pretty much that's it. There's no other real good teams in the Pacific. There's like the Oilers are good. The Canucks are decent. Seattle's going to be okay, but like the 3 California teams, not much competition. Markstrom should win a lot of games, and the nice thing about Markstrom is he doesn't really have any competition for the crease either. Like the backup in Calgary is Dan Vlader. He's not that good. So Markstrom should see like every single start this year except for like the back-to-back, which is amazing. And he's going to win a lot of games just because he's in an easy division. So I absolutely love drafting Markstrom this late in the draft. The 30th ranked goalie, that's just nuts to me. Next is Sean Monahan, ranked at 166, and I absolutely hate him where he's ranked. That's way too high for Sean Monahan. Last year he had 28 points in 50 games, which is just over a point every 2 games, and he sucked. He didn't look good, really, ever on the ice. He was a minus player. Shooting percentage was okay, but he's been trending the wrong way for a couple of years now. I would stay away from him at all costs, and it's due to like some injuries. It's due to poor development coaching, really, but he's a guy that I would stay away from. If he has a bounce back year, good for him, but it's not something I'm banking on. Next is Blake Coleman, ranked 187. And where he's ranked, I'm okay with it, especially if you're in a bangers league because he does hit a good amount. He also shoots a good amount, so he's a pretty safe player to be drafting, and he definitely should have a top 6 role in Calgary. But I don't necessarily think he's going to do as well as he did last year with Tampa Bay, right? Tampa Bay is super elite. He's a safe option. That's about it. He's not someone who's going to do insanely well. Next is Mikael Backlund, ranked at 247. Last year in 54 games, he had 32 points, which is decent. Nothing too crazy, but his shooting percentage was really, really low. He actually did shoot a lot last year, so if he can keep that shooting pace up, definitely someone who makes for a pretty safe draft pick, especially that late in the draft. Although that late in the draft, I usually tend to go for more risky guys with high risk but high reward. But if you do need some safe picks, Backlund is a great pick at that range, and he could honestly see second line time this year, especially with Sean Monahan sucking like he has. Next is Mangiapane, ranked at 310, nice Italian name. He had 32 points in 56 games last year, which was pretty decent, but his shooting percentage was almost 20%, which is definitely not sustainable, right? So do I necessarily expect him to do as well this year? No. And even those numbers are not like crazy, you absolutely need to draft this guy. So I don't think I draft Mangiapane, but if he's ever on a hot streak or Calgary has a favorable schedule, definitely someone I'd consider picking up. I don't hate Mangiapane, but he's not someone I'm super high on either. And last but not least on my list, guys, is Rasmus Andersson. Yahoo's expert rankings have him at 557, but in their expert rankings, really, anything beyond like 300 isn't really ranked for them. Andersson is pretty much guaranteed to get top power play time this year because Giordano is not on the team anymore, and who the hell else are they going to put on the top power play, right? Maybe Valimaki, but at least at the beginning of the season, they're going to start with Rasmus Andersson in all likelihood. So at the very least, he should be a point every 2-game guy. Last year, he struggled a little bit being on the top power play, but I do see him doing better this year. And, for a pick that's going to be your last pick of the draft, or for someone you're going to pick up after your draft, it's pretty good value considering he should see all of the top power play time and should be point every 2-game pace for Calgary. All right, you guys have reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I really, really appreciate it. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.